Not her own people, not the diplomats who crossed half the galaxy to bow before her throne, not even the hardened warlords who had once challenged her rule and lived only because she allowed it. They all kept their distance, their eyes lowered, their movements careful. Fear was woven into every breath they took in her presence. Queen Athira of the Varelian Dominion sat upon a throne of living crystal, its surface pulsing faintly with bioluminescent light. Her species was tall, elegant, and terrifying to most of the known galaxy. 4 eyes, each capable of seeing different spectrums. Skin like polished obsidian, etched with faint silver veins that glowed brighter when emotions stirred beneath them. Long, blade-like crests framed her head, marking her as both royalty and apex predator. She had conquered worlds. She had crushed rebellions with cold efficiency. She had outlived 3 assassination attempts and personally executed the traitors behind them. Legends followed her like a shadow. And yet, today, the throne room was silent for a different reason. The queen was dying. The healers had tried everything. Nanobiological regeneration, quantum tissue resequencing, ancient rites passed down since before their civilization reached the stars. Nothing slowed the decay spreading through her core organs, a poison from an unknown weapon used during the last war. The Varelian High Council stood at the edge of the chamber, whispering among themselves. Succession protocols were already being debated, alliances recalculated. None of them dared step closer than tradition required. Then the doors opened again. The guards stiffened instantly, hands moving toward their weapons. A murmur rippled through the chamber. A human walked in. He was alone. No armor, no ceremonial robes, no retinue. Just a man in a simple dark jacket, boots scuffed from travel, brown hair slightly unkempt. His name was Elias Ward, and he had been officially advised, ordered, not to enter this chamber. Humans were new to the galactic stage. Physically unimpressive by most standards. Shorter, softer, lacking claws, fangs, or natural armor. Their only reputation was stubbornness and an unsettling tendency to survive situations they had no right to. Elias ignored the warning glares and the raised weapons. He walked forward at a steady pace, each step echoing in the vast hall. "Stop," one of the counselors hissed. "You will be killed." Elias didn't stop. He didn't bow either. Not when he reached the edge of the inner dais. Not even when Queen Athira's 4 eyes focused on him, her presence pressing down like gravity itself. "You approach without permission," she said, her voice layered, resonant, carrying power even in weakness. "Do you wish to die, human?" Elias met her gaze. "I wish to help," he said simply. A sharp intake of breath echoed through the chamber. "Help." The words sounded almost insulting in this place. Athira studied him. She could see his heart rate increase, the microtremors in his muscles. He was afraid, terrified even. But he stood his ground. "Why?" she asked. "You owe me nothing." Elias swallowed. "You saved my ship." That gave her pause. 3 cycles ago, he continued, my exploration vessel drifted into Varelian space after a reactor failure. Your patrol could have destroyed us. Instead, you ordered them to tow us to safety. A faint glow pulsed along the silver veins in her skin. She remembered. A minor decision at the time. An insignificant human craft. "You are one life," she said, "against an empire." "You didn't know that then," Elias replied. "You didn't ask what we could offer. You just helped." The room was deathly still. "And now?" Athira asked. "Now I'm here to return the favor." The healers protested immediately. Humans lacked the biological compatibility to assist Varelian physiology. Their science was crude compared to Dominion technology. Elias listened, then shook his head. Your tech is incredible, he said, but it's trying to fight the poison directly. Humans, we do things differently. He produced a small device from his pocket. Simple. Almost laughably so compared to the towering machines around the throne. This weapon isn't just killing you, Elias explained. It's confusing your regeneration systems, making them attack themselves. Autoimmune collapse. Athira's eyes narrowed. You claim to understand this? I've seen it before, Elias said quietly. On humans. On colonies hit with experimental bioweapons. We couldn't overpower it, so we taught the body to stop fighting. Silence stretched. Finally, the queen made a gesture. The guards froze. Approach, she commanded. Gasps filled the chamber. Elias stepped closer, until he stood at the foot of the throne. He could feel her power even now, like standing beside a star on the verge of collapse. The procedure was risky, painful. There were moments when the queen's body convulsed, when energy readings spiked dangerously. More than once, the counselors thought she would die right there. Elias didn't retreat. He spoke to her through the pain, grounding her, explaining every step. Not as a subject, not as a conqueror, but as one living being to another. Hours passed. When it was over, Elias slumped to the floor, exhausted. The silver veins in Athira's skin dimmed, then stabilized. Her breathing steadied. The healers stared in disbelief as the decay halted, then slowly began to reverse. Days later, Queen Athira stood before the assembled Dominion, restored. Stronger than before. She told them what had happened. She told them that when no one else dared approach, a human did. Not because he was fearless, but because he chose compassion over fear. From that day forward, the Dominion's stance toward humanity changed. Treaties were signed. Borders opened. Knowledge was shared. And in the heart of the Varelian capital, a new law was etched into living crystal. Strength is not measured by the power to inspire fear, but by the courage to step forward when all others step back. Humanity became known not as conquerors or warriors or diplomats, but as the ones who would walk toward a monster and see a person worth saving. Some claimed it was the signing of the human Varelian Accord. Others pointed to the joint fleets that now patrolled the outer systems together. But Queen Athira herself knew the truth. It was not a treaty. It was a human standing alone in her throne room, afraid, unarmed, and unwilling to turn away. Elias Ward never became famous among his own people. He refused medals, declined political positions, and returned to exploration shortly after the Queen's recovery. To him, what he had done was not heroic. It was simply what needed to be done. But among the Varelians, his name became legend. They called him the one who stepped forward. Queen Athira ruled for many cycles after her recovery, but her reign changed. She listened more. She questioned more. And when her advisors spoke of fear as a tool of control, she remembered the human who had faced her at her weakest, not with weapons, but with empathy. When her time finally came, long after the poison was only a distant memory, she ordered a final monument built at the heart of the capital. It did not depict her victories. It did not show her enemies defeated. Instead, it showed a single human standing before a towering alien queen, small, fragile, yet unmoving. Beneath it, the inscription read, "No one dared approach the queen. One human did." And the galaxy was forever changed.